In the underground chamber of the closed eye, Lord Varric studies the failed poison report. Varric gives a new order: destroy the company from inside. Gabblethorn stands nearby, pale and furious after his public humiliation. Varric says outside attacks only made Aurelius' house more famous. His gloved finger taps Jihan's name on the report. A slim young man steps from the darkness and kneels before Varric. Tovan accepts and asks what to do if the formula cannot be found. His name is Tovan Gray, a professional infiltrator trained in false identities and document theft. Tovan smiles easily, the kind of smile that makes people believe he is harmless. Varric orders him to enter Aurelius' house as a worker and steal the product formula. Varric's mask tilts slightly toward Tovan. The closed eye begins its first internal attack. He says if the formula cannot be stolen, then the workers must be turned against Jihan. Gabble adds that ruining trust is cheaper than burning buildings. Tovan pockets a forged recommendation letter. The next morning, Varun's public news board is surrounded by citizens. The failed sabotage becomes the best advertisement Aurelius' house never paid for. Talia Reid's article describes the counterfeit Lumisilk incident in sharp detail. The headline praises Aurelius' house for exposing fraud and protecting customers. People read aloud, spreading Jihan's name across the city. A line forms outside the small Aurelius' house office before opening time. He says they need staff immediately. Workers, noble servants, innkeepers, and curious customers gather to ask about the real product. Miral opens the curtain and freezes at the size of the crowd. Jihan arrives behind her with calm eyes and a fresh notebook. Inside the office, Jihan, Miral, Sora, and Clara gather around the desk. Jihan writes the title, Aurelius' House Hiring Rules. The company has demand, product attention, and guild protection, but almost no manpower. Miral says one ledger keeper and one messenger cannot manage public demand. Clara recommends hiring carefully before the crowd becomes chaos. Jihan explains that skills can be trained, but character is harder to fix. Jihan says anyone can apply if they accept discipline and fair rules. He wants honest workers, fast learners, and people ignored by the old merchant houses. Miral quietly understands that he is building opportunity for people like her. Sora raises her hand and asks if street runners can apply too. Pip paints a temporary hiring notice outside the office. Some desperate workers begin lining up immediately. The notice says Aurelius' house seeks clerks, packers, runners, guards, and cleaning assistants. It promises fair wages, written contracts, meal support, and no illegal binding. The crowd reacts strongly to the phrase written contracts. The first applicant is Old Hask, a former warehouse clerk with a bent back and ink-stained fingers. Jihan hires him as a part-time inventory checker. He says most merchants refuse him because he moves slowly. Miral gives him a sample counting task. Old Hask completes it perfectly and even catches a hidden arithmetic mistake. The next applicant is Rhea Sunfall, a tall red-haired woman wearing worn armor. Celine arrives just in time to test Rhea's combat ability. She is a former caravan guard with a cracked shield and direct eyes. Rhea says she lost her last job after refusing to abandon a wounded merchant during a bandit attack. Jihan immediately respects the answer. Celine and Rhea face each other in the alley behind the office with wooden practice blades. Jihan hires Rhea as Aurelius' house's first guard captain. Rhea is not as fast as Celine, but her defense is strong and stable. She protects the imaginary doorway behind her without moving from position. Celine nods and says Rhea is perfect for office security. A shy young woman in faded mage robes approaches the desk next. Jihan asks Leora to identify 3 ingredient samples by scent and texture. She introduces herself as Leora Ashbell, a failed apprentice from a minor alchemy workshop. She says she was dismissed because she asked too many questions and refused unsafe mixtures. Felix, who came to deliver inspection papers, recognizes her as a careful student. Leora studies lavender, moonleaf, mint root, and a bitter scent masking herb. Leora is hired as a safety assistant under external inspection rules. She identifies each one correctly. Then she warns that the bitter herb was used in the fake poison bottles. Jihan and Miral exchange a serious look. Tovan Gray enters the office dressed as a polite young clerk. Jihan watches Tovan's breathing, posture, and eyes. He introduces himself as Tovan Hale and presents a recommendation letter from a small storage company. His handwriting sample is neat, and his speech is modest. Miral takes the letter and studies the seal closely. Tovan answers every question well. Jihan smiles and says Tovan can join as a temporary clerk. He claims experience in copying contracts, arranging shelves, and customer service. Old Hask says the handwriting is excellent. Clara says the recommendation seal appears real at first glance. Miral waits until Tovan leaves the room. They decide to hire him anyway and watch him. She quietly tells Jihan the recommendation letter is too perfect. The ink, seal angle, and wording all look copied from a template. Jihan says he noticed Tovan looked at exits before he looked at the desk. Jihan gathers the new team inside the office. Tovan smiles politely while memorizing the security layout. Present are Miral, Sora, Old Hask, Ria, Leora, Tovan, Pip, and Nella. Jihan explains the first Aurelius house rules: no cheating customers, no stolen goods, no hidden contracts, no formula access without approval. He says anyone who breaks trust will be removed immediately. Miral hands each worker a simple employment contract. Aurelius House becomes more than a product company. Some workers stare at the paper like it is a noble treasure. The contracts include wages, duties, rest time, confidentiality, and the right to leave. Old Hask sighs water because he has never been given terms this fair. Jihan teaches the staff how to greet customers, explain batch numbers, and identify fake bottles. The office starts functioning like a real organization. Miral teaches ledger marks, delivery notes, and stock recording. Leora teaches safe handling of herbs and warning signs of contamination. Ria teaches emergency positions if the office is attacked. That night, Jihan enters the Infinite Space Portal mini workroom alone. He decides no employee will see the true production source yet. The room has expanded slightly after his mana growth. A small production table, storage shelf, and bottle shaping station now float in the blue space. Jihan creates the first batch of smaller daily-use Lumisilk bottles. The new bottle is simpler than the premium version. Jihan stores the first common batch inside his inventory. It uses less fragrance, smaller volume, and plain but clean packaging. The quality remains safe and pleasant, but without noble-level luxury. The system confirms daily production capacity, 500 small common bottles. The next morning, a polished banker named Marek Valen visits from the Varun coin exchange. Marek offers to open an official Aurelius House business account. He wears a navy coat, gold spectacles, and a smile trained by years of handling rich clients. Marek says Master Orlan recommended him for secure storage and business account services. Jihan understands that real money now requires real financial structure. Marek explains vault deposits, payment notes, merchant letters, and insured coin transfers. Jihan opens a limited account but refuses unnecessary credit. Miral listens carefully while comparing costs and risks. Jihan asks about fraud claims, debt traps, and hidden service fees. Marek laughs and says most new merchants never ask the dangerous questions. A young noble girl arrives quietly with 2 guards. Jihan allows her to observe as long as she follows staff rules. She introduces herself as Iona Crest, Master Orlan's niece and a student of trade etiquette. Orlan sent her to observe how Aurelius House handles common customers. Iona looks elegant but curious rather than arrogant. A small sign announces the first limited sale of daily-use Lumisilk bottles. The first common bottle sells within seconds. The price is affordable enough for workers, servants, and small families to try. Sora organizes the customer line while Ria keeps the crowd orderly. Miral checks each sale against the batch ledger. A laundry worker tests a small amount on rough cloth and smiles at the gentle scent. Aurelia's house sells 100 bottles before midday. A mother buys 1 bottle for her children after Eloan confirms the safety test. A young assistant buys 3 bottles for guest rooms. People begin calling it the clean blue bottle. While the crowd distracts everyone, Tovan slips into the back storage room. Ria's shadow appears in the doorway behind him. He looks for ingredient lists, production notes, or hidden formula papers. Instead, he finds only decoy records written in Miral's coded inventory system. His smile fades. Ria asks why Tovan is in restricted storage. Ria reports the incident to Miral. Tovan quickly says he was looking for more packing twine. Ria points out that packing supplies are in the front cabinet. Tovan apologizes smoothly and returns to the sales floor. Jihan listens to Ria and Miral's report after closing. The fake formula is placed in a locked but tempting drawer. Instead of firing Tovan immediately, he prepares a controlled trap. He creates a false formula document with believable but useless information. Miral adds coded errors that will identify whoever steals it. Late at night, Tovan enters the office using a copied key. Blue light marks Tovan's glove. He moves silently past the front desk and toward the back room. He opens the tempting drawer and finds the false formula. A tiny marking rune hidden under the paper activates. Tovan turns to leave but finds Jihan sitting calmly in the dark office. Tovan drops the harmless smile. Miral stands beside him with the real ledger in her arms. Ria blocks the door while Celine waits near the window. Jihan asks if Tovan prefers to confess as a thief or as a spy. Tovan draws a hidden dagger and rushes toward Miral. Tovan realizes Jihan expected everything. Jihan opens a small portal that swallows the dagger mid-thrust. Celine disarms Tovan from the side. Ria slams him to the floor and pins him down. Dane and Captain Marwan arrive after receiving Sora's emergency message. The inside attack is officially connected to the closed eye. The blue marking rune proves Tovan stole the fake formula document. Miral reveals the recommendation letter was forged. Celine finds a hidden closed-eye token sewn into Tovan's collar. Before being taken away, Tovan laughs bitterly. Tovan's smile disappears. He says the closed eye has people inside markets, guilds, noble houses, and guard offices. He tells Jihan that catching one spy changes nothing. Jihan answers that catching one spy teaches him how the next will move. The next morning, Jihan tells the staff what happened. Aurelia's house survives its first internal attack. He does not hide the danger, but he also does not ask anyone to stay blindly. Old Hask, Leora, Sora, Ria, and Miral all choose to remain. Iona watches silently, surprised by the loyalty of common workers. Arya arrives at the office with an Adventurer Guild notice. As his business rises and his adventurer rank advances, Lord Varric Nacht prepares to strike both worlds at once. Jihan's early iron rank evaluation has been scheduled for the next day. At the same time, Clara brings news that